Episode 9, Reaction Committee. Jake the Rake featured again. Shout out Jake the Rake, soon to be Michigan alum, and Big Blue Wolverines last night take care of business in Houston. They win the Natty. First time in all of our lifetimes. Crazy. There it is. Last time they won, the 97 year. My Nebraska friends always let me know it was split, which I think is bullshit, but whatever.
This one ain't.
This one ain't. Exactly. It's not. So, yeah, no. Crazy game. Right from the get, boys. Let's just get into it. Donovan Edwards, the Don, back. Stu, we had a parlay cooked up. I was like, dude, he's due. He's been due all year, but he gets it done twice. Just felt like the Ohio State game kind of. He just broke. Once he hits that second gear, he's gone. After that, too, second quarter, they showed up. They actually scored. First thing I noticed going back to the first quarter, though, was they had no clue what to do with the defense. Calling 2 timeouts in the first drive was insane to me. Just insane. I don't know about you guys. That was crazy. Was that surprising? Like, what did you guys think?
I mean, we were sitting there. I was shocked. I don't remember. So the first time out, was the first time out even on a third down?
I don't think so.
Well, I don't think so.
I don't think the first. Oh, I think it was going to be a flag for illegal formation. And then they said they got a timeout called, so they wasted that one. That was on like the 50. And then they drive down. Dude, that drive had to be like 7 minutes. That was the first drive of the game, maybe the most important because they let Donovan Edwards clock him in the mouth. And Michigan had all the momentum. But Washington was kind of doing their thing, moving the ball, and then all of a sudden they're inside the 10. And that's where they get stuck because they like to space it out and they like to spread guys out, hit the edges. And once you get inside the 10, they can't run their normal style of offense, especially Dylan Johnson's banged up. It started getting loud and, banged up.
I felt so bad for him, man. Yeah, I felt horrible for him during that game.
Yeah, his leg is
every hit he took, it wasn't even that people knew he was banged up. Every hit he took, they zoomed in on his face and he was like
grimacing.
Yeah. Like, ooh. But they're inside the 10. They call a second timeout. That wasn't even Washington's coaching staff. That was just Michael Penix was like, we got nothing. And they had no look, couldn't find a look. And so they ended up with 3 points, which ended up being huge for the game. Even though
too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he almost shanked it. I could have sworn the one he was kicking later, he was going to shank. So
he's missing that.
I mean, from the start, Washington looked very, very lost. Obviously, they did sink into it defensively and started moving on offense, but they never really got it going. And a majority of it, a large portion, obviously, is Michigan's defensive line, and their secondary is incredible. And then Michael Penix never got into a groove, and so throws he hadn't missed all year, he was shanking them, like just straight up shanking them. Missed Odunze wide multiple times. And then missed McMillan on like an easy 10-yard hook route that he never misses. And, he had guys open all day. And part of it was the pressure. And part of it was he knew he had to get the ball out quick, never looked their way. And so from the get-go, they just looked lost on offense.
That man was seeing ghosts. I saw something on Twitter. It was like in all of Washington's games all season long, like their offense only allowed like a QB pressure 20% of like their snaps all game long. That was like the average for every game this season. Against Michigan, 75% of their snaps that they had was a QB pressure on Michael Penix. And so, I mean, they were giving him the heat all game long. It was obviously affecting them. And then I don't know if you guys saw, but after the game, Michael Penix at the podium was like, yeah, it wasn't really anything Michigan did that made a difference. It was more we just missed opportunities. And I don't know, that even his own coach was like, I disagree with Michael on that.
Wow.
I kind of thought he was going to say that too. I thought maybe he was going to pull a little bit of the injury thing because he got stepped on. I think it was in the third quarter, and then
by his own lineman.
By his own lineman. Then he was doing the ribs the entire fourth.
Bad ribs.
But he started doing that. Not saying it wasn't legit because he was getting smoked. He only got sacked once.
Only one sack, right?
Yeah, he was pressured the whole time. But he started doing the ribs thing when they went down that second score, and it was like, it's over, man. Like it was done. So I thought he pulled that, but I'm not surprised that he was like, yeah, it's on.
That sack too, Kenneth Grant just ran through a motherfucker, man. Like straight through him.
Yeah,
it was like a 60-pound difference between their center and Kenneth Grant. Kenneth Grant's 340. I think that kid was like 275 or something.
And then Mason Graham was crazy. He was crazy all playoffs. He was insane. Sanders still obviously went nuts. And same with Will Johnson.
That he made.
crazy. And that's the thing I noticed right away, boys. Like the difference between any team is Michigan wraps up. They're given so many different looks, and the disguise that they had, it looked like the Ravens like light out there is what they are. Let's call it how it is, and have been for a couple of years now. With Minter, and obviously McDonald started off 2 years ago. And that's what I was telling people like around the office or whatever. Like that's why I was like, Michigan's built to beat a team like this because they have with Ohio State, like CJ Stroud, already superstar in the NFL. All those guys are first round picks, soon to be Marvin Harrison. You go, Chris Olave, you can go down the list, Smith and Jigba, Garrett Wilson, all those guys. They comp to what McMillan is and Odunze, and those guys too. Odunze, he had a couple drops. I mean, that one was a bad pass. I mean, he wasn't seeing and throwing the ball like he was against Texas, but he wasn't playing a defense and that was the thing. They have played nobody when it comes to the pass rating that's even close. Oregon was 54th, and that was the best pass defense they played all year. Michigan second. So they got exposed. Michigan, no asterisks. I like what Reese Davis said. He actually said there's not an asterisk. Scott Van Pelt asked him that. He said there's a subtitle with this championship, and I totally agree. Like, always going to remember Connor Stallions. That's the subtitle. Yeah. But, like, you can't really take this away from Michigan at all, in my opinion. People might have different opinions. That's fine. But, like, I saw a skit from, like, Bill Burr was on with Rich Eisen. Bill Burr,
that was so funny.
And it's spot on, though. It's like, yeah, they're cheating, quote unquote. Sure, they're trying to cheat and figure out what the signs are, what the Wheaties box means and whatnot, like any of us could do. And, obviously Connor Stallion's doing his own thing. The CMU stuff is that was like next level, but and I keep preaching it. And then Sarkisian, that's a quote I keep using like on air down here is, even he was like, not going to talk about specifically Michigan. It's like, yeah, I wish half the time my game planning throughout the week wasn't changing signs so we could just not have to deal with that. That's half of what I do. And like, just get to the headset. We're at a time where this is creating millions and probably billions of dollars of revenue. You can afford a headset for everybody, not just the Power 5 or now Power 4. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, high schools do that. So Michigan goes through Ohio State, beats Penn State with throwing the ball for 2 yards, it felt like. They, shout out to them without Harbaugh, and then Harbaugh does it. Let's just get right to it, fellas. I want to go around the room, and I've talked about it. Jake, I want to start with you, Mr. Michigan man. We're going to start with you here. Does Harbaugh come back for fall 2024?
I think he comes back. Well, for one, he said
spring practice
getting pushed back, which obviously you're going to say something, but it just seems like he's committed. He seemed pretty happy after the game. Like, what else does he have to prove now? Obviously he probably wants a Super Bowl, but we're gonna match whatever offer he gets.
100%. He's gonna get more money at Michigan. I believe that for sure.
And he now has a chance. He already has a title now. He has a chance to be
at the big boy table.
Yeah, he's legendary. He's gonna be legendary at this school. I mean, there's probably gonna be statues built to the guy. Why not try to run it back? Like, He built a masterful program here.
Stu?
Yeah, I mean, I could see it going either way, to be honest. Like, I wouldn't really like bet on one side or the other. I agree. I think he's going to get more money at Michigan. I mean, just won a national championship. Got to imagine they're going to give him the blank check. I do think him and JJ are probably a package deal, though. So I think, like, if he stays, JJ is going to stay too. Like, why not run it back, try to win one more? Like, I'm sure Donovan Edwards might even consider staying also. But if he's gone, I feel like a lot of players are gone too. Definitely JJ, definitely Donovan Edwards, and a bunch of other guys too.
That leaves me, I guess. My gut feeling says, I think he leaves. He came here to Michigan. I remember actually very distinctively when he came here, everybody talked about Harbaugh will be here for 10 years and then he'll be gone. And I remember young Dakota was sitting there like, 10 years, what the fuck? That's it? Like, we're only getting 10 years of Jimmy? That's stupid. Now it's been, 9 years now? That's a long time. That's actually a decent amount of time. I didn't realize it back then for some reason, but 10 years is more than enough. He came here to bring Michigan back to what it was. And honestly, when he took it over, Michigan wasn't even a national championship winning program. They won the one in 97, but Lloyd Carr is a bit of a Michigan legend. That was the only one that he had. And he's taken them to 3 straight playoffs, won a national championship, didn't just go. He had been to a Super Bowl before, but lost. He's really done everything that he came here to do. And I think this year was honestly, it was the perfect storm. It was the perfect situation for Michigan to win it because they brought back a similar team that they've had for the last 3 years. You finally, I remember seeing the quotes when JJ was a freshman. I thought it was the corniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. He's like, this freshman class, we're going to be the ones to do it at Michigan. Everybody was kind of like, yeah, we'll see. Well, they stayed here for 3 years. They put together a team. It was pretty much the exact same team as last year. You see teams like Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State. They all have a bunch of roster turnovers. They had their years in the past. This was Michigan's year to do it. Stars aligned. Everything was perfect. You played Michigan football. You played fantastic defense. You ran the football when everybody told you were going to have to change who you were going into these playoffs, myself included. Thought it wasn't going to work. I'm an idiot. Who cares? They built it up. It's years and years and years in the making. This was the one. Obviously, of course, you can run it back, but you're going to lose guys next year. I think Harbaugh did what he came here to do. He can leave a champion and not a soul will be upset. And he'll leave the program in good hands. So you can leave, you can stay, but if there's ever a time to maybe walk off into the sunset, it's not the worst time.
I think there's a lot of open gigs right now in the NFL too. Like it feels like it's pretty early and it already feels like a quarter of the league has an open position right now. So I mean Arthur Smith getting fired today, crazy.
Yeah, well needed.
Vrabel getting fired, crazy.
See, I said
probably
this
the craziest one.
I said this on air. It made me think of it right away. I know Ryan Day's doing good recruiting, and we got some Buckeyes that listen to this. Call Mike Vrabel. I know it's a downgrade technically to go to the college scene. I get that, but the Patriot jobs.
Even Taylor Lewan was saying, he was like, I do not want Ohio State to even call Mike Vrabel because he would have them right. Like
he would. I think that's the perfect pairing, Ohio State Buckeye. But again, the Patriot jobs might be his. That would make sense. So it'll be interesting. I do think he's going to go to the Chargers. Honestly, guys, I just think that. Now that he has this national championship, he's the younger brother, even though he doesn't look like it at all with John. Like, this is his time, personally, I think, now, ball's in his court. This is he gets Michigan or he's going to get an NFL job. It's one or the other, obviously, where he can just stay here and win championships. It's just, it is a lot more, I don't want to say harder, but building the team. He built up all this with Michigan to get to this point and did it. And that's the thing, like you said, like I think the statue probably is going to be made regardless if he leaves or not, because he got Michigan back to where Michigan's, the fans, all of us have said and believed that Michigan is most wins in college football. This isn't the Leatherheads anymore. This is, straight up college football playoffs. And the second team of the Big Ten to do it. Only other team outside the SEC to do it, obviously, is Clemson. And then it's just been Dax Tigers, obviously Bama a few times, and Georgia a few times. So impressive, great year. When they beat Bama, I felt really good. I was like, yo, I mean, that was to me. And we said it on the here. I think we all kind of agreed. I think the winner of this is going to be the winner of Bama, Michigan. I really felt that. Texas gave what they could, but Washington just outplayed them. And they did what they had to with a weak secondary. That's what Texas had. Michigan has the opposite of that. Great secondary. And then Washington, a good year. Got to give him the tip of the cap to DeBoer, like what he's doing. But, I mean, they are. And now they're in the Big Ten. There's no reason for them not to be good. That is another close to blue blood-ish next tier down.
Rodgers, too. Like, he's going to be their QB next year.
That's a good pickup.
Yeah, guy can sling the rock.
Can sling the rock. I think if anything, he's going to go to the Chargers. You get an opportunity. They probably give him more the keys than elsewhere. Atlanta is intriguing if they go get a quarterback. Justin Fields could be a guy going home to Atlanta, which would be very interesting. They need a new quarterback, and I think their defense wasn't that bad this year. Jesse Bates, great pickup. He was a stud this year for them. Their O-line's okay. They got Bijan. They got those weapons they kept drafting. Atlanta would make sense in a wide open NFC South. So I think those two, AFC, NFC, I think Chargers makes most sense. Former player, going back to California, where obviously he likes being out then. And then Justin Herbert, social media quarterback aside, still one of the top, I'd still say a top 5 quarterback in this league. So
for sure.
I mean, that's what I think he's going to do. I wouldn't be shocked if he stays at Michigan. I think if he stays at Michigan, obviously the contract's like, you're not going to even talk to NFL teams anymore, man. Like, you got it. Like, we got it. Because he's been doing this since 2 years ago with Minnesota. Like, they didn't even call him back, obviously. And that's where I go, he's obviously fishing to get back in the NFL, it feels like. Raiders, maybe. I think they're going to tire Antonio Pierce. I think they should and actually make a good decision there. Not that Harbaugh wouldn't be a bad decision, but with Brady there, that might help. But yeah, I think gun to my head, he's going to the Chargers. If I had to pick, I just think that's going to happen. But he could stay. He could stay.
My thing with the Chargers is like, yeah, obviously they have Herbert, but it just doesn't seem like right now that roster fits Jim Harbaugh's schemes. Like, not a very great defense, not really a run game. I mean, Eckler's like pretty old at this point. He hasn't been anything of his former self. Like 40. Yeah, I mean, he's just not the same back that he was. So I feel like Atlanta makes more sense to me just because they do have. Because I was thinking about it today, I was like, I don't think he's going to end up at the Chargers, even though I know that he said he wants to go back out to the West Coast if he does end up doing it. But it feels like he'd have to do a lot of rebuilding there. And I don't know if that's something that he wants to do right away.
Right. And he's 60. And like this is his time frame to go. Like, I think it's you either go or not. And that's it. Like at this point. So his last shot to do it. He got to Super Bowl. It's been 11 years now, I think, right? Yeah. It's been a little over a decade. But we'll see. I totally get what you're saying, Jake. Like, it makes total sense either way. If he wants to because if he stays, I think they can win another title. I really believe that.
Yeah.
He seems like a guy that wants to coach Taylor Heineke to me. Seems like he would.
Yeah, that wouldn't be the case. There's no way. Yeah, they'd have to get a new quarterback. No
Pete Carroll, he did the snip snap. I'm pretty sure he went NFL and then back to college, and then he went obviously NFL again with the Seahawks. I think with the Chargers, the only thing is you look around the NFL and it's like what teams need a culture switch. Who they don't play a physical brand of football. People talked a lot about the Bears early on. It did change up towards the end. They're not going to get rid of Eberflus. It seems like I don't know. They can do whatever they want. The Chargers need a complete culture switch. And I do think, although that defense might not look appealing, I think that is Jim Harbaugh, what he's good at. He can come in and kind of fix the defense almost right away. Regardless of what pieces you have. And then you're going to be fine on offense. They still have Keenan Allen and you still got Justin Herbert. And yeah, Eckler might not have been great, but it's something he can make do with where Atlanta, the quarterback situation, that's the only thing you don't want. You don't want a 50-50 quarterback situation. That can be kind of tough. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But, yeah, I could see him coming back.
If he leaves, Jake, start with you again. We'll go around the horn. Sharon Moore, is that who you want?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you hire him right away. I think you take a look because obviously he's proven himself.
Do your due diligence, sure.
I think you do a good little search, but at the end of the day, if you can't find anyone better, and I don't think there is many better options out there at this moment in time, I think you go and just hire Sharon.
Yeah, I would probably just say go with Sharon too. I mean, a lot of people are throwing Jesse Minter.
I was saying, what about Minter?
Into the ring now, but I mean, I feel like that's a tough situation because Moore already beat Penn State, beat Ohio State. Like, you're really going to promote the other guy and not him after he already won those huge games. So I feel like if you're not going to go outside, you kind of got to roll with Sharon. Obviously Mike McDonald's probably going to be a head coach next season. So I assume Jesse Minter is probably going to be the Ravens defensive coordinator next season.
You would think.
And so Michigan will probably get some analysts from the Ravens that was just like a guy in their shoes and just going to continue the pipeline there.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, you guys would have better eyes on it than I would maybe. If Jimmy does leave and go to the NFL, is there any chance he brings Jesse Minter with him?
I think he could bring Jesse Minter with him. Yeah, I don't think he would bring Sharon though.
No, yeah, because he was from the Ravens. He's got NFL experience. Like, that's not a bad call, and he clearly defenses are gross, disgusting. So that's not like a horrible call. So that's one thing that I thought of because I feel like they will go with Sharon Moore over Jesse Minter just because of what they did earlier on in the year and whatnot.
I thought another thing that was crazy too, like just looking at JJ's record, he's like the winningest QB in the modern era.
Right. Yeah.
The only QB that's even close to him is Jameis.
Jameis Winston, only on the one with one loss. Yeah. Jameis.
Trevor Lawrence.
He was up there, but he wasn't. It was like a bunch of guys from like this, like 80s and 70s. And
I think he had 2 losses technically.
Trevor Lawrence, yeah, he had 2 losses because he lost title game and then playoff game in 2020. But they had the 15-0 year. That's what I said. Yeah,
Gorham's going to finish with never losing as a starter.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's one of the wildest things.
I mean, he's a top 5, top 3 probably Wolverine of all time.
Yeah, he stuck around.
Talk about a guy that's
will be champions. Those who stay will be champions.
Yeah. No. Do you guys think JJ stays or leaves? I know Stu. You said it's
I like Stu's theory there. I think if Harbaugh stays, he might stay. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's also mocked at like 23 right now.
Yeah. I don't think
he's your first round pick. You go.
Yeah.
I think you have to. It doesn't really get much better than this.
I think the argument I was hearing from other people is that the QB
Yeah.
class next year is like way weaker than the one this year. So he probably would have a decent shot at being the number one next year, like number one overall pick, which is a big difference in money, I think, if you're the number one pick versus if you're the 23rd pick. So who knows?
Yeah, him and probably Quinn Ewers would be 1 and 2. I'd assume those would be the guys.
Yeah,
Quinn sounds like he's going to return for sure, which he
should.
It's
tough though because
stuff.
Like
at that point, it would be whoever had the better season would probably get drafted higher.
Yeah, if they play each other,
probably JJ, considering his winning percentage if he came back.
100%. It's just tough because like even this year, Michael Penix and Jaden Daniels were not supposed to be first rounders,
right?
And so like guys can kind of come out of nowhere. So you don't always know.
Yeah,
never guarantee. And Michigan's losing guys regardless, so running it back is obviously always tough. I don't know. I'm always like, you win a natty. Just take your flowers and bounce, but who knows?
All right, special edition of the episode. This is number 9, like we mentioned, and fantasy football. We have champions all across the world. Jake, congrats! You're a champion. It sounds like with your 6-8 record. Congrats! 7-7 record. Our good friend from the homeland, from Michigan, hometown, Tommy Lucas. We are welcome.
Bring him in.
There he is, the fantasy football champion with the champions in the background.
Team Tommy.
7-7, Tommy. Jake the Rake here. He went 6-8. So he even outdid you there with the mediocre champion that you are. No, I'm kidding.
Oh man,
I'm kidding.
We got Tommy's whole playoff journey to pull up.
Right. Well, you did call me, Tom, and we talked about it. You're like, I don't love this team after you drafted, and I was like, it's all right. You're gonna make the playoffs, and there you go.
It was Amari Cooper, right? Amari Cooper's what really did it for you.
Yeah,
I gotta get Amari Cooper or a Joe Flacco jersey. I think that's somebody with my winnings, to be honest.
There you go. Yeah, there's
the Amari Cooper game right there.
That's the Amari Cooper game.
Points or whatever it was.
Yeah, the Noah's fall, even though we were the bye weeks, and I get the 3rd place against Tarek, and there we go. La Portobello Mushroom, Chris. D's Nuts, a.k.a. D's Nuts. That's his phone contact name, and he'll only be D's Nuts to me. And Team Lucas. Love the name, Tom. You had some of the worst names of all time last year. Tua girls won Cup. You didn't have Cup. You didn't have Tua. And then you had McCaff strain with no McCaffrey. So you know what? I appreciate just the Team Lucas this year. Let's get a little something creative, for next year, okay? Because I have news, and I want to announce it. Stu did not remember this name, and that's why we wanted to wait for this. I will be changing my name. I did not win this year. The O-Show Hate Club will be retired, and making its run back for 2024 season, Sabo's Mole. Sabo's Mole will be back.
Yes.
It is coming back. I have to bring it back. I was co-champions with Tom last year. Tom, co-champ last year too, so you're running half back-to-back. Tommy and I faced off in the championship last year for context, and that was you had Joe Mixon and I had Josh Allen, and that was the DeMar Hamlin game. So we shook hands and said, let's just split the winnings and co-champ. So congrats to you, pal.
You got to give the people some context on what Sabo's Mole even means.
Sabo's Mole.
It's Sabo's Mole. I think it's as simple as that. You know what I mean? Sammy Sabo got last year. Sammy Sabo.
That's if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. He might be out of the country still in New Zealand. Good friend of the show. Don't think he's watched an iota of this, but and maybe he will after this here in the news about the name. Who's Mole is the one of my favorite quotes of all time after my team name was Sabo's Mole. So that'll be back. But Tommy, thanks for joining us, pal. Michigan fan out in the Big Apple, New York City. Got the background there. JJ McCarthy lover. We know this. JJ McNice, as I given him the name. He's been
generational arm talent.
Generational arm talent, soon to be Lion.
Hey. You wanted it.
it. I wouldn't hate it if Jared Goff cannot pull out the win and JJ's there late first round.
Okay.
And if Jared's the reason why we lose that game, I don't hate trading out for him in late first round.
And I get that. I do have one thing. Hendon Hooker. Do you know who that is?
Might be okay.
Okay. 3rd rounder.
I didn't hate it. I didn't love it in the 3rd round. He obviously has the arm talent that Jared does not.
And
But then
JJ, I'd
again-
say, but that's all right.
Yeah.
Damn, you
I
don't
think
like
he has
JJ?
probably
You
a
don't like
more
JJ?
lively arm. He has a more lively arm. But then again, I mean, you got some NFL quarterbacks who can throw it 80 yards, but it goes 10 yards over the wide receiver's head. I'm not saying that's Hendon Hooker.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm biased towards JJ. I've always have been. I probably always will be.
All
I
right.
think whatever
Champion.
team
He's a
gets
champion.
him, yeah, he's a champion. He wins.
He's a winner.
And he makes the big throws. He makes a big throws.
All right.
Sometimes.
He makes them when they matter. I mean,
makes them when they
final
matter,
2 minutes
yeah,
against
yeah.
Alabama.
He had a big run. He had a big
Good run.
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
good quarterback. He's going to be
He's a-
starting. He will get a shot in the NFL to start. No question. And I'm not to discredit you, Tom. It's just kind of like what the Lions got going on with Hendon personally. That's all right, though.
No,
if he's not a
talk
Lion, will you get a jersey? If it's somebody else, will you get a JJ jersey, NFL jersey?
That's a good question.
Let's say Minnesota Vikings. He's playing for the
No,
Vikings.
absolutely not.
No, okay,
Absolutely.
okay.
That's where the line
NFC
gets
That was
North.
the biggest stretch.
No way. Outside of that, though, I mean, I think there's a good chance I get a JJ jersey.
Okay.
good color.
Raiders JJ jersey would
That'd be
Oh,
hard. That'd be
sick.
hard.
The
I actually
Raiders
like
would be
that.
Sweet.
There we go.
My friend Trent would be crying in his room.
Tom, give us a little analysis of Mish. Big game, obviously, big one. The biggest of the Blues wins the biggest game. Talk to me about that game, what you saw, what you liked. How'd you feel prior to the game? You know what? I did make this comment. We were kind of joking about it. You and I were chatting before the game, and you said a little nervous because the ACC refs have called the most, this group, pass interferences. They let the boys play. They did let the boys play. So that really wasn't the case. Yeah. But overall, get analysis of the game. How'd you see that one?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'll start in the Rose Bowl game with Bama. I really liked it when we ran the ball. I mean, just like the entire season, when we run the ball, we control the game. And then when we get away from the run and start trying to do a little too much, the bubble screens to the left and the right, the orgy packages, trying to get too cute, I did not like that. And I felt good in the first half in Bama. Then it started getting a little shaky, and then we got back to the bread and butter, started running it, and eventually came out on top in overtime. Same thing with the Washington game. First quarter, dominant, started running the ball. You had the Don with a couple big runs.
The Don.
And then we got cute again with the bubble screens and the orgy packages, and it's like, what are we doing? Like, you can put the game away here. You like an out route to Roman Wilson on like
Twice.
4th and 2. Mm-hmm. It's like, what are you doing? The guy's undersized, and JJ has to put that ball in the perfect spot, and the defender just made a really good play. He didn't even look. He just put his arm right through the arms.
The DBs were good on Washington. They were bad.
They look good.
I mean, he timed that perfectly. And then what do? We got back to bread and butter in the second half, ran the ball. Defense, huge first play out of the game with the interception, which was unbelievable.
Will Johnson stuff.
One of the craziest interceptions I've ever seen.
That was gross. Didn't touch the ground for a second.
And it wasn't even out of bounds. There was a good amount of space there because I was like, oh, he might be out of bounds. Nope, not that.
He's a true sophomore, right? So he'll be back.
Sophomore, yep.
With Mason Graham. I mean, pieces that come back, unbelievable. And then you got Sanistrill, how do you say his last name? Coming up, big with the interception. I think he's probably 3rd round talent, maybe late 2nd round.
Little undersized, but awesome player. And the thing I love about him is too, Tom, like Sanderstill, him, and he's talked about this. He knows how wide receivers play because he was a wide receiver, and that's like you can tell the defense like what's going on, how he feels they're going to read there because he just was naturally a receiver. He's a stud, little undersized, and that's probably what's going to prohibit him. But he's been awesome. Had it even in Ohio State when he got the ball out of their hands, that touchdown that would have, I think, put him up, or it would have been whatever it was at that point. I can't remember the exact score, but that was a momentum shift and won them that game completely. So yeah, stud. Michigan won a SKU. We went around the horn and asked around, and I talked to you about this yesterday, so I know your answer. But Jim Harbaugh, will he be back in Ann Arbor?
I think he will be. And the reason is because, I hear people saying, oh, college isn't the same anymore. I mean, Jim's been out of the NFL for a while. And the NFL has changed since he's been coaching as a head coach in the NFL. And, I was thinking about today, they thought Urban would be successful right after the bat in Jacksonville. But, these are 30, 35-year-old men with families. And I think Jim is more successful in college because he connects with the younger players a little bit better. And he can say, listen, you can come to Michigan. I've been in the NFL. I know exactly what those scouts are looking for. And he can just create and solidify this factory that he's created at Michigan. And when it's all said and done, he'll have a statue waiting for him. If he wins, another Rose Bowl, a couple more Big Ten championships, maybe just one more, and then he'll have a statue. And why risk it and go to the NFL and just completely tarnish your legacy like Urban Meyer potentially has done with all the controversy that he's had, the failure? Yep. I think Michigan will pay him NFL money.
Blank check, I think, yeah.
And I think he'll go into the sunset as a Michigan head coach.
Yeah. I see both sides of the coin. Jake's on your side. It sounds like too. Dak and I are more on the NFL, and Stu's kind of split. I think it makes sense it'd be split anyways because the ball's in his court. I think he's in two good situations. This team was special. These were the guys who stayed, and they became champions finally. If he's gone, I think JJ's gone. I would assume. I think his stock's going to be high. It could get a little higher, sure, but I think worst case scenario, he's a second round pick at this point. I think someone's going to take a shot on him. I just think with the Chargers and why I think the Chargers make sense. Justin Herbert, yeah, you're going to have to re-sign him, but I think that's a guy he can mold. He has had no real good coach there that whole time. He's a top 5 talent when it comes to quarterback play. Now, yeah, their rosters are kind of older, and they're going to have to get more. Quentin Johnson doesn't look like the answer there, and Keenan Allen's got a few more years. But he likes California. He was a Charger. I don't think he'd go to the Bears. Another one thrown out there is Atlanta. They got the pieces. They see the quarterback. And now I don't think this would make sense, but Mike Vrabel's gone. That's another opening.
Yeah.
I was saying this today, like I told these guys earlier. What if Ohio State makes a call to him? I think the Patriots job's his to have, and I think he'd take that 100%. But what if that's not the case? And Ohio State says, you know what, Ryan Day is not enough, clearly. Because if Ryan Day loses in Columbus this year to Michigan, whether they make the playoffs or not, they'd have to win the title. He's done. He's done. And so if you have a shot there, yes, it's a step down, sure, but it's a blue blood and he played there. So and he's younger and he could do that and get back into the NFL if he doesn't. Patriots, it's like, are they going to go get Caleb Williams and trade for that? Doesn't feel like it. Feels like Drake May, and I don't know how good Drake May is. I'm taking Jane Daniels over Drake May any day. That's my number 2 quarterback on this list. And so, yeah, I can see either side because he can create the dynasty, and it looked like he was just, he's finally at the big boy table, as he said. So let's pivot to the NFL, boys. Great championship. Go Blue always. Wild they won. Wild they're national champs. Still crazy. Still kind of surreal, but they did it. NFL now, boys. Our Detroit Lions.
Oh, God.
Lions diehards in here in this room, okay? How do we feel about Matthew Stafford coming to Detroit, Michigan, Ford Field? Tom, we'll start with you. Jake the Rake, you, Stu, Dak, whatever order. Start with you, Tom. How do you feel about that game?
I've listened to all talk show hosts go on and on about the return to the den. And I think one of the most interesting things is how they're gonna welcome him back. Are they gonna do the tribute video before the game, at halftime? Is it gonna be something during warm-ups? Is it gonna be after the game? I think that's interesting how they're gonna play with that. But in terms of going up against Stafford, it's a deadly passing attack. And that's been the crutch of our defense the entire year. I think we will control Kyren Williams, and it's going to be, okay, Stafford. It's going to be a Stafford show. It's going to be Stafford versus Goff. It's going to be Goff revenge against McVay. And it's going to be probably whoever has the ball the last part of the game. It's probably going to be one-score game, maybe tied, 31-31, something like that. And whoever has the ball.
Be over. I don't blame you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be so many points. It's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Jake, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go.
Go for it, Jake.
I agree with pretty much everything that you said. I'm scared. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't want to see Stafford. Like, I would have much rather played Green Bay.
Sure.
Just like Tommy said, I think he's gonna shred our secondary, which it's happened all year. The best quarterback that we played was Lamar, and look what he did to us. And Stafford's probably number 2 right behind him. I think Kyron's probably gonna get going through the air, which is how they've used him a lot this year. I'm taking the over in that game for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It might be 70. I'm still
51.
Yeah,
I'm hammering that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm scared. I didn't want to see this team, one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now.
It was always the Rams, Jake.
It was always the Rams.
It was always the Rams. Griff was rigged. Come on.
It's NFL rigged. Yeah, that's why Brad Allen did what he did in Dallas. It was all
that bastard.
But no, I feel good about the Lions going into it, to be honest. I mean, Dan Campbell said it himself. Pure octane is what they're on right now.
Fury.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. I mean, there's going to be some Lions scares, I'm sure, throughout the game, but I like our chances. I think the boys are rolling different right now. It was good to see CJ Gardner-Johnson get that pick at the end of the last game just to get his confidence going. Aleem McNeil, he's back. He looked like he was balling. So I'm feeling good going into it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little on the fence. I wouldn't say I feel good or feel bad. Obviously, I didn't want to play the Rams. I want to play the Packers. Mm-hmm. Maybe even the Saints, like somebody. I didn't want to play the Super Bowl champion from 2 years ago, Rams. This is Stafford's destiny. This is Detroit's destiny.
Yeah.
Stafford went and won his Super Bowl and everyone's there. That's not enough, my friend. You got to go play a playoff game in Ford Field. We drafted that man over a decade ago. Everybody was fully prepared for him to bring us to the promised land, finally have a home playoff game in Ford Field. Had a couple shots, a couple years, always fizzled out, never did it. Finally, he's coming to the D for the first ever playoff game in Ford Field. It always had to be this. It always had to be.
It was always Matt Stafford. It was
always Matt Stafford. It always circles back. The road led one direction, and that was Matt Stafford playing the first playoff game in Ford Field. It's unfortunate because obviously our secondary, that's the weakest part of our team. No question about it. That's maybe the only pure weakness that we actually have. And they still have Cooper Kupp. Puka Nacua, 5th-round pick. Turns out he's awesome. Big part of that is because Matthew Stafford is awesome, and Sean McVay is a goddamn genius. But Jared Goff, a little bit of a revenge game for him too. He said before he left.
Big revenge game.
Yep. He sent a text to the boys. He said, "I want to pipe Sean's girlfriend." And so right before he left, that was his passing note to the Rams. And so revenge game for him as well. But hey, man, this is the biggest game in Detroit. I feel like we've had, within the Dan Campbell era, we've had 4 or 5 biggest games in Lions football, modern era history. And this is another one of those. Ford Field's going to be rocking. The Rams, they pieced this defense together. Like, they were in cap hell for years now. And they built it all up to win that Super Bowl. Tried one more time last year getting Bobby Wagner. And finally, they're like, we can't do this anymore. And they still obviously got to this position, which is incredible. But we're going to put up a lot of points. And honestly, the number one tribute, we're going to give Stafford a tribute video, but the number one little gift tribute that he could give to Detroit is 2 wild Stafford picks where you're just going, what the hell? Where are you going with that, man? A beautiful pick 6 to start the second half. And so if he does that for us, he'll be a legend in Detroit forever. And we will always thank him.
Yes. One thing not mentioned, I'm surprised by all the big blue heads, Aiden Hutchinson. He's had 3 sacks in the last 2 games, hat trick, and I think that he's been getting doubled all year. Stat came out. There's only 5 guys since, I think, 2006 when they started recording pressures. He and Micah Parsons were both to crank into the list. Max Crosby was on there. J.J. Watt was on there, and I believe Myles Garrett, somebody else. Maybe it wasn't Myles Garrett. Can't remember.
I think you said Myles Garrett. Yeah.
Yeah, they were the only ones to hit 100 pressures. He was at 101 in the regular season, and man, he's been playing like a monster. He's figuring out how to get, because he was we were like, where is he? In the middle of the season, he's getting doubled, And now he's figuring out how to play against one of the better DNs, and he's really proven at the end of the year. I think that will propel. I'm hoping Michigan down the road, 45 minutes, is going to be contagious. There is winning football in the state of Michigan for once in a long time. And this is the biggest, as all Michigan fans in here and Lions fans, it's the biggest week we've had in football history and sports probably history for all of us. That's now, oldest in here is 25. So, yeah, man, I'm juiced. I do get the point. And of course I wanted to play Green Bay. But other side of the coin here with that one is it was always the Rams. It has to be this way. They have to break the curse and have the last laugh. They won the Super Bowl. We got Gibbs. We got Laporta. Well, he might not be playing, but all of these, with all these picks, all those guys down the list, Jameson Williams, all come from that trade. And we really, for the long term, I believe, won that. And they have a great, like you said, they have a great draft, their GM, but our GM comes from there. And that's why I'm so excited. I think he's going to have a little bit of insight, not the same team. Obviously he helped draft. Some of those guys got to be, remaining. Obviously Aaron Donald's one of them. So yeah, man, I think we're going to win. Plain and simple. I think we're going to win. I think they're going to do it. And I think that also, I'm calling my shot right now. I think they're going to go to the NFC Championship, and that's where the road will end in San Francisco. I'm going to call it right now. I think that this win, if they can win, number one, will propel us to beat the Dallas Cowboys, and we will be there. I'm going to that game if we get it. We're going to go, Dak. You, me, Porter, and then David Ocampo will come. And it scares me because David Ocampo, our good friend from California, is a Rams fan. He said that, dude, and he worked in Detroit. He worked for the Tigers, so it makes a little sense. He's like, I'm generally rooting for you guys, like seriously. And I'm like, that kind of scares me. But like,
all right.
I had to be this way. I think no gimmies. And to the point of also with Green Bay, it's like we do play them every year. They have way better eyes on us than the Rams do. We haven't played them in a couple seasons. And to give credit to the Lions when they won 3 games, that was a really close game. Some of those guys are still playing. So I like the Lions. I think we're going to win. I'm not taking the spread. I'll take a money line. But I think that if they win, they will propel to an NFC Championship destiny team. And that is, to me, a successful season already has been. So it was always the Rams. I'm kind of glad in the long run that we get them because if we beat them, it makes it even better, in my opinion. So
when you said NFC Championship game, I got chills a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, I was like, I'm
just
so
give it. Come on.
Yeah, it has to.
We can beat Dallas. I truly believe we beat Dallas. I don't care what people say. Call me a homer. Screw that. Like we beat Dallas.
I almost think it's good that we lost how we did lose. Hindsight's 2020, of course.
Yes.
But now, yes, obviously, I'd love to play that game in the field. But they be coming into there like, hell no, we're winning this game. Now we're going into Dallas like, yeah, we can beat this team. We should beat this team, and they took it from us. Like they got something. They legit stole a game from us.
Goff made mistakes in that game. 2 bad picks. Yeah. One really bad in the beginning there.
He looked like garbage.
And I don't think that'll be the same Goff, especially if he goes and beats his former team and has that confidence where you can screw them. We're going to beat them. And that'll be enough. And that's kind of how I feel about Michigan and why they won. They needed all this stallion shit. They needed the juice. Arrogant Michigan, cocky fans. So, there's a lot of them. And just Michigan, the nose in the air. What the hell have you done since 97? Not a whole lot. They finally do it. They had the juice. It was everybody against them. Michigan versus everybody, but it always just started as Detroit versus everybody. So let's go. Yeah. Let's go, I believe. All right, let's do a little quick around the horn with the NFL too. While we got Tom on here. NFL outlook. I had to do let's do round 1 predictions, boys. Let's go around the
I got to look at the games. Yeah.
I had to do my bracket today. I got a little crazy. We'll start off in the NFC with the first game. Oh, no, we'll start off with the first game of it all. 2 AFC games on Saturday. Yep. The Texans hosting the Cleveland Browns. I believe it's 2.5, maybe 3, depending on what book you're looking at. I'm going to start us off with this. I'm going Texans. I am going Texans. I am doing it. Maybe it's just the Texas, I'm a Zans boy. That's my AFC team right now, being down here. I believe in the juice. I think a home game's huge. And I love the Flacco story. I think the Zans are going to win this one. I think they're going to pull it off, and the juice continues. And I just like what they're doing, man. I like the Texans. I like the story. Feels like Lions, AFC version this year with D'Amico Ryans, former player. They got CJ, who's a beast. Nico Collins, Buckeye to Michigan connection. No Tank Dell sucks, but that defense, Will Anderson, has actually been pretty good this year. So give me the Texans there. I know it's a hot take, but whatever.
I'm kind of pissed you went Texans because I was leaning Browns and I was going to
Zanny family.
I was going to feel like such a turd, but I disrespected the Browns. I didn't even put them in the playoffs.
You did. Disrespectful.
And it's been a playoffs of storylines of guys returning. Joe Flacco going back to Baltimore would be like, oh, God damn. Like, it lines up perfectly, but I can't do it to my Texans. We're Texans household, ride or die. And so I'm going Texans round one as well. Going Texans. Screw it.
There you go, Jake. We're Texans boys.
Who cares? Who cares? Yeah.
So I'd be happy if the Zans won. Like, I want the Zans to win. I just think the Browns are gonna win. I mean, it's a great defense, and I don't know, Flacco, man. It's hard for me to doubt Flacco in the playoffs.
Okay.
Something about that Joe Flacco guy. Just
Something
trust.
about that Joe Flacco guy. He's pretty good, man.
Just trust, man. Yeah. It's from part of my take, my bad.
I thought CJ coming out of that draft, I thought there was a chance that he would fall the Lions there. And
wow.
I liked him. I liked him coming out of the draft. I was hoping that he would fall Lions and Lions be in a tough position and they would draft him. And I think he's played exceptional this year. I mean, he's like 25 to 6 touchdown interception ratio. That connection he has with his wide receivers, Nico Collins basically looks like a wide receiver 1 on that team. They got Dalton Schultz, safety blanket. D'Amico Ryans is an unbelievable head coach. But I think I'm going to have to go with the experienced Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
All right. Totally get it. Totally understand.
And honestly, I hate to say it, the better coach. I hate to say it. But I think
today,
proven.
As of right now. Sure.
Today. I think that the defense is better. I think it's just holistically a better team. And I think the pressure and the
tough.
Rookie and CJ Stroud's going to come out. He's probably going to throw a pick, maybe a fumble from, strip sack Myles Garrett. And I think the Browns just run the ball. They run the ball, play action Joe Flacco, and the savvy veteran, dices up that defense, and they win probably not by more than a score, maybe like a 6-point game.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, this is probably the game I'm most excited to watch besides the Lions.
Of course.
Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm pumped for this game. Browns are good, and I love me some Flacco action, but
of course.
Houston's been my team all year to bet on, man.
You have.
Yep.
Well, I'm riding with them, man.
Yeah, Zanny family.
Moon.
Plus money, baby. Plus money.
Someone's got to be an upset, right? Technically, I know they're 4-5, but they're not favored at home, so Cleveland should win. Next game is the Peacock game. It will be a whopping 0 degrees in Kansas City. Note there. Who wants to start with this one? We can start with someone different. Take it over. Whoever has a good feel for it. Kansas City, I believe, is a 4-point favorite at home against the Dolphins, who have just limped to the playoffs now. They did have that win against the Cowboys.
I think.
Go ahead, Stu. I think
yes,
you're going
Stu, you got it. Yeah.
I don't hate it either. I don't hate it.
This is a stand on the table for me here. I'm on Fins all day.
Okay.
Fins all day.
Why? I want to know why. Because I'm listening. I am.
It's just corny Kansas City this year, man. Like, I don't like them. I don't mess with them. I don't think they got dogs on that team. I mean, Mahomes, obviously, he's a dog, but outside of that, I mean,
Chris Jones.
Kadarius Toney, when he's – oh, yeah, Chris Jones, too.
Their defense has been good. They have been good this year.
Defense has been good. Mike Dana, too, former Chip and Michigan Wolverine.
Go Blue, fire
up. Chips, go Blue, yep. But, no, man, I've been feeling like this past week just that they're going to be like disappointing in the playoffs for whatever reason, and so I'm trusting the gut. I'm going Fins.
I like it. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, if this game was a neutral site or anywhere maybe above 32 degrees,
that's
probably go Dolphins.
The Hawaiian.
I just think the weather's too much.
Weather's not real.
I really want the Fins. I hate the whole Taylor Swift shit.
It's
I think
terrible.
it's a conspiracy to get women involved and then the NFL more, ratings up, yada, yada, yada.
No question.
I just think
She's not going to the game.
Are going to get lucky. They're going to get probably the refs all day. And I think the conspiracy is going to live on for one more week. And I think that, Pat Mahomes, Kelsey, they might get back on track. He probably goes for 150 yards, 8 catches, and a touchdown. Pacheco is going to run like the mean machine he is. He's probably going to run for 150 yards. And I think Tua gets sacked probably 6 times.
Yeah.
They're so banged up. And I don't know if they've played in a game below 50 degrees this year. Have they? Probably not. I don't think Tua is the same quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, when he's come out on draft, the rumors were, oh, they don't want to. His family doesn't want to go to Detroit because it's too cold and that place sucks. Yeah. So for the sake of that, I hope the Chiefs beat their ass.
Jake, take it.
Yeah, this game's in Arrowhead. It's 0 degrees. I just also, if you think the NFL is going to let their fucking cover girl lose, that's not happening. Like, they're going on to another round. Chiefs are going to get all the calls. I agree with Tommy. Also, Mostert's out, right? I think
he's playing. I think he's going to play.
Yeah, I mean, that's big for them because they're going to have to run the ball.
They have to, right? I think he's going to play, though.
I think the Chiefs have really been slept on for a lot of the year, and I still think that they're a great team. I mean, they have all the experience in the world. I don't see them losing round 1.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks for the Dolphins. A month ago I picked the Bills to win the division just because the Dolphins just keep getting smoked with injuries. And it happened last year with Tua, where they got hot at the start of the year.
Dinkle's even out too, which sucks.
The Chubb injury was kind of the icing on the cake. Waddle's banged up, dealing with an ankle injury. I don't even know if he's playing. Welter's supposed to play, but he's banged up. Like you said, it's 0 degrees in Arrowhead. Everybody knows that's not where the Dolphins thrive. And every year in the NFL, I try to pick a nasty team like Tom Brady with the Bucs. You'd even say Joey B with the Bengals that one year where it's like good quarterback, but they're not going to be favored in any of those games. I think the Chiefs are that this year. I don't know if it's going to continue because they are a little bit of a circus this year, which the Patriots never were, but they are the current day. I don't want to compare it to that dynasty, but that's the closest thing you have right now in the NFL. They're not losing a wild card round. Like, even though they had a bad year, there's just no way Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are going to lose in the wild card. Maybe in the divisional or AFC championship game, I don't know, but 0 degrees, Arrowhead, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid. See you later, Fins. Maybe next year.
Stu, my friend.
I said Fins.
I know. I'm talking to you right now. This is to you.
Oh, yeah. Okay. What's up?
You're standing on the table. I made my bracket today, and I put Miami to win, and I'm going to stick with it.
All right. Let's go.
Wow.
Okay. I don't know why. I really don't. None of it makes sense. I really don't. I don't know what it was that compelled me to do it. I looked at it, and I said, they're going to lose. It was a bracket format. I said, they're going to lose to the Bills regardless if the Chiefs win. So I was like, you know what? Let's be a little different. I'm going to stick with what my bracket was today, and I'm going to keep sticking with the guns. I think Tyreek's going to go crazy. I think Mike McDaniel's going to have to unload everything in the clip for them to win. It's going to have to be all in their favor. It's cold. It's a Hawaiian quarterback. It's a lot of guys that aren't used to that. Really tough. I just think the Chiefs, there's something in the water there, whether it's Taylor Swift or not, and it might just bite them in the ass. After I watched them play against the Raiders, I go, this team's kind of ass. And it really irks me to do this. And I'm happy at least you got a guy here. Stay on the table with you, Stu. I don't really know. Gun to the head. Probably not. Like, life on the line. No, but I got a weird feeling that the
Chiefs. Gotta trust the gut, man. Gotta trust the gut.
Just aren't winning it this year. So they haven't done this before, but this year is different. They don't have the receivers. Hopefully Jalen Ramsey's just shut down, and hopefully they just use the rage that they have because they just pissed away their division this year.
Yeah.
And I hope Tyreek goes nuts. 200 yards game. Go crazy, buddy.
200.
Dude, get close to it. I'll go with the Dolphins, buddy. I don't feel good about it, but I'll ride with you, kid. I'll ride with you, mate. Let's go. All right.
It almost feels like everyone's doing the whole cold weather thing, and so it almost feels like
I'm doing reverse psychology.
Yeah. I'm keeping it simple though.
The Dolphins have been good this year. They have looked fraudulent, but I think the biggest frauds are the Chiefs of all of them. I know Mahomes is Mahomes, but they have no receiving besides Kelsey, and Kelsey has been beyond underwhelming this year. I'm sorry. So I'll give you the Dolphins. I think that the Dolphins are going to win, kind of, somewhat. I'm just going to do it. Screw it. I wrote it down. I'm going to do it. All right, we're moving on to the next day game. I actually don't know what it is for Sunday. We have all four. We have 3 games. So I think it is Buffalo. I think it's Buffalo.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. Do we need to spend much time on this? Are we all Buffalo? Any Pittsburgh standouts? Because I think we could just pass.
Buffalo.
Pittsburgh sucks.
Buffalo on the under.
Worst team in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Over the Packers. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, the Eagles look like the worst, maybe, honestly, but that's besides the point. All right. Let's just go ahead. Bills are cooking. They're hot. Bills win. Everybody around the board? Yes, cool with that?
Yep.
All right. Next game has to be, Green Bay and Dallas. This has been an interesting one. 7.5 point spread in Jerry World. Who wants to start? Stu, Dak? I will give you guys one of the first reigns here. Go ahead, fella.
I'll go.
Yeah.
This one, it's going to be closer than the spread 7.5. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than 7.5. Like gambling wise, I'm taking the Packers there all day. They have played really well down the stretch. They did not look good at the start of the year. They really got cooking. I got to give Jordan Love his flowers. God damn it.
Good against good teams. He does. He plays good against
He
good
does.
teams.
He threw for 30-something touchdowns, not a lot of turnovers. Props to him. Matt LaFleur is a really good head coach. But that Dallas defense is still very, very good, and they're insanely talented on offense. And it's not – I don't think it's their year. It's not the Cowboys' year, but it's at least a year where they can, show some fight and make a small bit of a run in the playoffs until they run into the Detroit Lions. But yeah, I'm going Dallas here at home. They'll win round one, but it's going to be a lot closer than what people think. It's going to be a nail biter.
Okay.
I'm just gonna regurgitate your take, Dak, because I agree with that. That's like what I would say is gonna happen as well. I was kind of leaning towards Green Bay at first when the playoff bracket was first set, but I've come down from that. I think the Lions Cowboys matchup is destiny. Kind of like Michigan, team of destiny. Feels like the same thing with the Lions a little bit right now. So that's why I'm gonna say Cowboys win as well. Matchup with the Lions.
Jake, go ahead, bud.
Yeah, I had a dream the other night that the Green Bay Packers won this game 70-20. And for that reason, every time I have a dream that a team wins, the other team wins. So I'm
I was gonna say I've had a few dream bets as well, and I've yet to hit one. Not a single one.
Tom?
Yeah, I'm in the same space as Dak in this one. I think that it's going to be a close game, maybe a backdoor cover. 7.5, I think, is too many points. I kind of like the under as well. I think if Matt LaFleur is smart, he's going to run the ball, and he's not going to let Dak and that explosive Cowboys offense have a field day. I think he's going to try to control the clock, let their defense hopefully take advantage of a couple Dak mistakes like he had against the Lions. And I think it's maybe like, 20-24 type game, something disgusting like that. But I think Cowboys ultimately come on top. I think it's too much for Jordan Love, the first-year starter. I just think that offense is too good. They just have too much going away right now. They're probably the hottest team in the NFL. I can't think of a hotter team.
I'm going 20-16. Weird score, weird game. I'm going the Dallas Cowboys. Everything you guys said, spot on. I think it's just their defensive line gave the Lions a lot of trouble, even, and that's number 2 offensive line, debatably, in all the football. Micah Parsons will have a day. They don't really lose at home. Obviously Brad Allen helped that with the Lions there, but I got the Cowboys winning this one. But I told you guys earlier, I think that game is destiny, like you said, Stu, or whoever said it. I can't remember if it was Stu or Dak. That's going to be where the road ends. Hopefully, Lions got to beat Stafford first. But yeah, no, I got as well. I'm going to go with Dallas. So we're all Dallas in the room. Next game has to be where am I missing here?
We already talked about Lions.
Let's just talk like Lions. Okay. We talked about it, but does everyone think the Lions are going to win? Does anyone think we're going to lose?
I'm Lions.
I'm going Lions.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's Lions. I'm not going to say the Rams are going to win, even if I believe.
Can't do it.
Yeah, you just can't.
Yeah. I think Lions win. I think this is probably the toughest team that the Rams have played since the Ravens. And every team they've played since their bye week is pretty brutal.
They got smoked by the Cowboys, too. Yeah.
Smoked by the Cowboys. They almost lost the Giants. I mean,
Giants are all right. A little frisky.
A little frisky, but I think that might have been DeVito's last team or one of his. I think DeVito was playing that game.
Yeah.
The Rams really should have lost that game.
Yeah.
And I think kind of looking back at all those close games the Rams played, that gives me confidence in the Lions to pull it out.
Okay, last game, Monday night. I'm going to start. I'll just do this one for us, boys. I think we'll have a little split in here. I really do. This is going to be an interesting game. I think it's 2.5 Eagles going down to Tampa Bay. It is maybe just the hate for Nick Sirianni, but that locker room is lost. That team is better than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I'm going to ride with the Buccaneers at home. Little Baker playmaker. I know they played in Tampa this year, and the Eagles won. That's when they were on their run. I think he lost the locker room. I think Jalen Hurts is that team, that defense sucks. And like I said, I'm going to pump my chest. I said it all over the summer. People down here are like, you're crazy. I think the fact that you lose both your coordinators to head coaching jobs, Shane Steichen knows what he's doing, clearly. They didn't make the playoffs, but he did that without their number 1 overall pick, Anthony Richardson. They did it with Gardner Minshew, who's okay, but he's a backup. And I really, really think that Philadelphia is lost and they don't know what the hell's going on. And it feels like the Bucs aren't a great team. No, that division sucks. But I think the Bucs are a little bit in a better headspace, and their defense is pretty damn solid. Baker at home, another shot at the Eagles. This is not the same Eagles team, a little banged up. I'm going to go with the Bucs in an ugly, ugly game. I think they win by a point or two, but I think the Bucs are going to pull it off.
I'm just going to pretty much reiterate that. Like, this does feels like a spot if the Eagles were ever going to turn it around. Obviously, it's now or never. Obviously. But dude, the ship is sinking, and they have absolutely no answers. Jalen Hurts, you can only look up so many motivational quotes to say after a game. A.J. Brown, you can only stick up for your head coach, who your head coach then sticks up for you. Then you stick up for your head coach sticks up for you. That you can only go back and forth so many times before it's like, oh yeah, maybe the locker room's starting to tumble and nobody knows what they're doing. It's one of those things where that Giants game should have meant absolutely nothing, but they went out in the first half and actually tried to win it. And that defense it's in shambles. It's totally lost, and there's a big reason for it. They lost their coordinator, and then you decide to have Matt Patricia, who led the worst era of Patriots defenses ever, and then led the Detroit franchise, who was already in the basement, into a deeper, darker abyss somehow.
Let us into the dirt.
And they said, we're having problems on defense. We're going to let you call plays. How about you fix it? It's only gotten worse. And so that Giants game, which like I said, should have meant nothing. Now they're looking at that like, okay, we need to make a lot of changes. And on short notice, going up against Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Baker Mayfield is playing all right, and a decent offensive line with a very nice defense. I don't think it's going to look good at all, and I'm going Bucs.
Yeah, this was probably the one I was the most on the fence on the whole week thinking about it, but I think I'm gonna go Bucs too now.
Wow.
Yeah.
The Eagles. You boys are right. They're just ass right now. Like they just suck.
It's a better roster. I do believe that, but this is Matt Patricia. We've seen it all, boys. Everyone here has seen that. That man is a disease. Seriously.
Yeah, they got the guys, but they just reek of dysfunction right now. So yeah, I'm going Bucs.
All right, Tom, Jake, one of you take it.
Is AJ Brown? Is he okay?
He's banged up. I'm sure they're going to play him.
Okay. Also, I don't know if you guys saw the video of Baker walking off the field the other day, but
he get smoked.
Hobbling. He might be in a wheelchair. I think the Eagles are going to win this game. I know that they look horrible, but I don't think the Bucs are very good. In all honesty, I think the defense is pretty good. Nothing to like be super scared of or anything, but Eagles are still a good team. I know they looked horrible last week against the Giants. There's too much firepower on that offense. They got to figure it out eventually. I really do believe that. And this would be a good week to do it.
And they get Swift and Devontae Smith back, I guess. And so that's a pretty big factor there, obviously.
All right, Tom.
Yeah, I think this is probably the worst game of the week. As you guys said, like Eagles have looked terrible for the past what feels like 6 games. Bucs probably should have lost to Carolina if it weren't for that fumble for the back of the end zone. And I feel like it's just going to be like whatever team fucks up more and throws more picks or fumbles, like that team's going to lose. I don't think someone's going to win it. I think someone's going to lose this game. But I think the Eagles have too much talent. I have more confidence in Hurts than Baker. I think they have a better run game. But yeah, the Patricia disease, as Craig said, it's real. It's real. Yeah. And I forget which game it was, but it was last play, and the Eagles just kind of allow a touchdown, and it's like single high safety, and the corner gets beat, and it's a touchdown right in the end zone. I forget
Seahawks, I think. Was it Seahawks?
Seahawks game. That was it.
Yes.
That was
Drew
the
Lock's
start.
Seed.
That was the start of it.
Yeah.
And it's just been straight downhill. But I think this is just a nasty game. I'm gonna hate watching it more so than the Bills and Steelers game, because at least like those have respected head coaches, and the Bills I think are a formidable team, and they're actually look like something decent. I don't think the Eagles or Bucks are worth anything after the first round.
100%. I agree. Yeah.
Where you going?
You want Eagles?
Eagles.
Oh, you went Eagles? Okay, you're going
Yeah,
Eagles.
he's going
Yeah.
Eagles. Yeah, and I think the Steelers game, the reason why I think that's going to be like the most, I mean, it's 10 points. And a lot of that, I think a point or two is just because TJ Watt's out. TJ.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge loss. He's so disruptive. But yeah, all right. Let's just give it. Anyone want to just do Super Bowl winners? Do we want to do that or no?
I'm still going
well.
Niners. I'll say mine. Still
Niners?
going Niners.
Okay.
Yep. Not
Ravens.
Ravens.
Ravens as well.
I'm looking at the board right now. I kind of want to say Ravens, but I kind of want to just like go off the wagon here.
Can I give you a team that I would do if I didn't pick the team I'm going to pick?
I know who I can. I tell you who I
Lions.
think the Niners
I-
are playing
honestly,
in the Super Bowl.
I probably would take the Bills. I hate to say
Thank
it,
you.
but
That's who I have
Thank
a
you.
plan.
That's
I have
the one.
Niners.
That's the one.
Niners versus Bills. That's my matchup.
That's the
Niners
one.
v Bills. I said
Okay.
it a while ago too.
Going Bills. You want to do it? Lock it in. I like it, Tom.
Locking
That's the
Bills
only
in.
team I believe can beat the Ravens throughout this whole thing. I saw that. I know the Niners game was just one game. I saw enough. I did. I think that NFC thing with he referring to Lamar, I'm gonna live on this stat until he loses the second game. Only he's lost one NFC team. If he's not getting in this, if he gets to the Super Bowl, they're going to win it. I'm calling it right now. And I've been Niners all offseason, everything. Saw enough. This team, it's the Harbaugh year. I'm going the Ravens. Year of the Harbaughs. Caw. Ravens is my pick. I switched. So, yeah. All right, boys. Well, hell of an episode. I know Stu's got some want to do one more thing. We'll get on here. Tom.
So I was thinking, we'll rip that next.
Everybody.
Next time.
Next week.
Well, so yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say let's rip for the people. We're gonna talk a little aliens next week. But
There we go.
I was gonna. I had a lot.
I'm gonna bring some videos and some pictures to the table. We'll make a whole segment about it. We'll just rip that one. Us three. We'll do a little guys on stuff next week.
Guys on stuff. Our new segment.
I was gonna say next episode is gonna be out of this world.
Out of this world. Okay.
that guy's funny.
Hey, appreciate you joining, Tom. Congrats on the championship, both fantasy football and our Big Blue. Jake, congrats, pal. Thanks for joining us, of course. Fellas, hell of an episode. Episode 9 of the Reaction Committee. We out. Go Lions.
Peace out, boys. Go
Go
Lions.
Lions, baby.
Hey, boys, go Lions.